What's up everyone, this is CyberKnight 8610, and today we're going to have another episode of Please Print. For this episode, we're going to be talking about Alchemy Beasts. This is another one of those Please Prints where we're talking about basically a whole archetype, and there's actually quite a few cards in this archetype, although most of them pretty much do the same thing. So it's going to be, you don't have a whole lot of effects to read off, I guess, but there's still a really interesting archetype that was used in Yugioh GX by Abagnale, or of course Professor Banner, whatever you prefer to call him. And yeah, it's been one that I've heard requests that I should do a Please Print over, and I've always thought they're really interesting anyway. I mean, of course, you know, they're based on Alchemy, which, you know, if you like Full Metal Alchemist like I do, you know, it kind of reminds me of that as well. So I just find it to be a really interesting archetype, so let's go on ahead and talk about them. Alchemy beasts are based off basically the metals and animals used in alchemy to transmute and refine gold and other, you know, alchemic processes. So basically what's cool about this is that their main card is, of course, a distill, which is, of course, Alchemic Kettle Chaos Distill, for the full name of the card, and its effect is any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. Pretty, you know, simple effect, but yeah, it's the main card to make sure all the other effects work. This card has to be on the field to allow you to be able to summon the other alchemy beasts. So that's just kind of a neat part about this card, is that you're basically like using alchemy and stuff, whether it be through the animals and the metals, because they're kind of, you know, one and the same through a lot of these different monsters, and you're able to bring them out. So it's just kind of a simple card, yes, but it's really cool because you're able to, like, the main strategy for this archetype is that you're able to summon these monsters that can all attack directly and do damage, and also you can get rid of them and banish them to power up other monsters that you can use. So it's a pretty cool thing that this archetype had going for it. Now let's talk about the Alchemy Beasts. They all basically have the same effect and everything else. They're all rock type, they're all level 3, and they all have 500 attack and 500 defense. Their effect is basically the same, except the cards used to summon them are different. So I'm not going to read off the effect of all these monsters because they're all the same thing. You should be able to see them, of course, in the video itself as well. So yeah, here's the effect though. This card cannot be normal summon or set. This card cannot be special summon except with whatever the card is that's used to summon it. And then this card can attack your opponent directly. So for, you know, different monsters require different ones. So for example, we have Alchemy Beast Aritos the 10, which requires 10 Spell Circle to bring it out. And then there's Achenas the Mercury, which is Mercury Hourglass. Leon the Lead for Lead Compass. Moonface the Silver for Silver Key. Uroboros the Bronze for Bronze Scale. Salamandra the Steel for Steel Lamp. So yeah, which are all based on very obvious things, you know, Eagle for 10 and all the different ones. I'm not going to name them off because they should be very obvious for that. But yeah, this is really interesting how they're able to work like that. Of course, to actually bring them out using their spell cards, you have to have Chaos Distilled out to use that. So, of course, it kind of reminds me of all the different archetypes. It kind of reminds me of like Toon World or something, like how Toons work, where you have to have that key card. Well, they're about the same on this. Even though they can all attack directly, but they only have 500 attacks, so it's not just a terrible amount, although it is much more of a threat, of course, in the anime. Only having 4,000 life points, I can see how it's way more of a threat. But, yeah, you're able to swarm these out on the field, and the best part about this now is that, of course, in GX, we didn't have Xyz monsters. Nowadays, if this archetype actually did come out and had something very similar to the effects they have in the anime right now, they would be a lot more viable because you could attack directly with a bunch of them and then be able to Xyz summon later on, or, you know, just go ahead and Xyz summon. And we have that option now, which can actually make this archetype way more usable. Now let's talk a little bit about the spell cards that are used to bring out the Alchemy Beasts. They all basically have the same effect, but of course they correspond with their respective monster to bring them out. So for this example, we're going to go ahead and talk about Lead Compass. Its effect is activate only when you control a face-up Alchemic Kettle Chaos Distill. You can special summon one Alchemy Beast Leon the Lead from your hand or deck. So yeah, like I said, they all basically have the same effect. Of course, each one summons a different Alchemy Beast. What's really cool about this is that it doesn't have to be just from the hand. It can be from the deck. So that does make these cards way more viable. Like I've said many times for other Please Print archetypes, though, I can see these having to be changed just a little bit because you're relying so much on the kettle that, like, they at least need a searcher for that, or maybe even like another card that is like the kettle that can also its name be treated as kettle, because archetypes that rely on a special spell card like that usually have some hard times like that, because even Quakimeru's had a lot of hard times with that because you need an iron core for just about everything, and now that we're seeing more things like how the diamond core has been revealed, that's really helped them out as well. And then tunes. That's another reason they always have a really hard time too. They need more cards that also count as Toon World. So if we had stuff like that for this archetype, something that also counts as the Chaos Distilled, then this archetype could actually be pretty viable, and at least for fun, and definitely worth running. Alchemy Beasts actually already have a few cards sort of from the archetype that are printed, like Golden Homunculus and of course the Helios cards, and Macros Cosmos. Not only that, they have these cards that are called process cards that are based on different colors like black, white, yellow, and red, and they kind of bring the two types of cards together, the Alchemy Beasts with like Golden Homunculus and Helios cards. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about those cards. The first one we have is Black Process Neglito. It is a normal spell card, and its effect is activate only when you control a face-up Alchemic Kettle Chaos Distill and you have no cards in your hand. Remove and play all face-up Alchemy Beast monsters you control, draw 2 cards for each removed card. So yeah, basically if you have Alchemy Beasts on your side of the field, you have a bunch of them especially, you're able to remove them from play and then draw a bunch of cards from it. If you had all 5, I mean, you get like 10 cards from that, which is pretty awesome. Not only that, of course, that's how it kind of ties in with the other part of the archetype, the ones that have actually been printed, is because removing a bunch of cards from play will really power them up. So yeah, it's actually a great card for this, and next up we have White Process Albedo. This is again a normal spell card, and its effect is activate only if you control a face-up Alchemic Kettle Chaos Distill, special summon 1 Golden Homunculus from your hand or deck. A very basic card, helps you get Golden Homunculus, which is really nice, and yeah, just a great searcher for that card. If you fill up your Remove from Play and or Banish Zone with a bunch of different cards, a Golden Homunculus can become a beast. I mean, it gains the 300 attack and defense for each Remove from Play card, and that adds up pretty quickly. So yeah, and it already has, I believe, 1,500 attack, yes, 1,500 attack and defense. Then we have Yellow Process Clinics. I think is how you say that. I'm not really sure, honestly. It is, again, normal spell card, and its effect is tribute 1 Helios Primordial Sun and special summon 1 Helios Duo Magistus from your hand or deck. Basically, it's a way just to level up the Helios card to its second form. Just kind of plain and simple. At least it doesn't need the kettle, though, or something for this. So, yeah, like I said, this one, you can't really say much about it because it's just really basic, but it's pretty cool to be able to level up, I guess, the Helios cards as well. And then we have our last process card, the Red Process Rubido. This one, again, is a pretty basic card where you're able to tribute 1 Helios Duo Majestus and special summon 1 Helios Trice Majestus from your hand or deck. So basically, it's just another card that's able to level up the Helios card, basically. You're able to send the Duo Majestus into Trice Majestus, which is pretty cool, but yeah, I mean, it's not really as helpful as the Black Process Neglito and the White Process Albedo, because they actually help out a little bit more. One being able to help you draw cards and remove cards from play to power up your other monsters, and the other being able to search for Golden Homunculus, which, you know, that can really help out because it just kind of gives you another way to get Golden Homunculus out. So yeah, that is the Alchemy Beast archetype. It has a lot of strengths and a few little weaknesses with the kettle being, you know, if it's destroyed, you're pretty much just messed up for the whole duel. But like I said, if they had another card to go with that, or like another searcher for that card, that could really change things. It's kind of cool that we've already have some of this archetype already out, like Golden Homunculus, all 3 of the Helios cards, and of course Macros Cosmos, but I would really like to see the rest of this archetype come out, at least for a collector standpoint. They would probably have to change them around a little bit on a few cards, of course, just like most of the cards that are anime cards that get brought over and printed. But I would still really like to see them in any shape or form, just because it would be nice to see an actual archetype based on alchemy printed like that, because I always found them to be a really interesting archetype, and I thought it was really cool to see that duel of Abigail versus Jaden. It's one of my favorite duels from GX, and I just found it to be really interesting and a really cool archetype that deserves to be printed. So yeah, tell me what you guys think. If this archetype was printed, will you use them, or would you just want to collect them because you think they look cool? So yeah, tell me what you guys think on that. Thank you for watching. Remember to comment, rate, and subscribe. And of course, tell me what other archetype you think deserves to be printed, or just card. As always, thank you for watching, and of course, I will catch you guys later. See ya.